Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report, and starting with the ASX here on the monthly chart, so a long-term chart for Elliott wave. And what we've got here is that the move from this wave 3 down here into wave 4 in the GFC here is actually in 3 waves. It's corrective. So what that means is that because it's corrective, at some stage we should make a new high above here. Now, the way that that can happen is that if I just draw on here for a moment, when we've got a correction down here in 3 waves here, that means that yes, we can have 5 waves to take out the top there, or we could have a larger flat correction, which normally a flat correction, because we got 3 waves here, it means that we would have the next move here in 3 waves, and a flat just meaning basically sort of flattish, and then having 5 waves down into this section here. So a larger A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave here, and then a move up from there. It's possible to have this 3-wave structure here and have 5 waves going up here and not making a new high as well, and calling it a truncated 5th wave. But in a big picture like this, it's pretty unusual for that to happen. I think there's only been 2 or 3 recordings of something like this truncating on such a large scale like this. It can happen intraday and on smaller scales, but very rarely would it happen in a large picture like this. In fact, I think there's only 2 recordings, and going back to the 30s or something was the last one, so 36 or something. So I'd have to double check, but it's a rare. So we've got this problem here. We've got 3 waves in here. Currently we've got 5 waves up here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we can also count 5 waves in this little structure here, which we'll talk about in a moment. But either way, it doesn't take out the top here, so we'd have to call it, if we brought this down here, we'd have to call it a truncated 5th wave. So there is a little bit of a dilemma. It's possible that the only trouble with this 5-wave structure too, by the way, is that this wave 4 here, the low of the wave 4 pullback, overlaps with wave 1 here. So that really breaks the Elliott rule. So it's not really the best count to have this counted as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. However, when we look at CBA, which can sort of mirror this, then there's a big gap between wave 1 and 4 here. So it's a little bit of a dilemma. There's other ways to count this up as a corrective wave to the upside, which is probably more in fitting, and then that would be an A and a B and a C here for the A wave, a B wave here, which is rather small, and then a C wave to the upside here. Either way, whatever happens, I still need to figure it out, but we just need to be a bit careful in this particular space here, because on this wave 4 here, on this weekly chart here, coming back here, wave 3, wave 4, if it doesn't really matter how I count it, but in this case here we can count 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the 3rd wave, and the 4th wave here, pulling back to the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree, and then the 5th wave up here that we can count as 5 waves. I can't count this as 1 and 2 and 3 here, because once again here we're getting, if that's a wave 4 here, then we're getting an overlapping wave structure between, like if I had this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 back here, then we're overlapping here, so that can't be right either. So it's highly likely that, let's remove that, it's highly likely that we've got wave 5 in play here, in here, or we're going to have an extension to the upside where we have this here, all of this here as just wave 1, and then we have an A wave and a B wave and a C wave back here for wave 2, pulling back to the 50-60% retracement level of these guys here, and then moving up into wave 3, 4 and 5 here, having an extension in wave 5 here. And this is quite sort of common in commodities. Normally the 5th wave is normally in commodities, and Australia is a bit of a mining town itself. I suppose the GDP doesn't really reflect that as such, but yeah, so anyway, a bit of a dilemma here. So on the daily chart here, we can look at it, for the time being, I'm just looking at it as possible wave 1 and also possible wave 5 here. So what we're looking at the moment is the current move down here is in 3 waves here, and we would need it to finish. If we get a bounce off 6,100 here, and we end up getting 5 waves down here, because we get 5 waves down here, that means that we're going to have an ABC correction here pulling back up 50-60%, anywhere between 40 and 60, and then we'll have another 5 waves down here. Now this 5 waves down here, that could also be, I would have this as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave to here, and then moving up from here. But if this wave 5 top was in here, well then this would be wave 1 down here, wave 2 here, and then wave 3 would come down longer and stronger still. Okay, so I won't know the answer to this, but what we can do is we can say to ourselves, okay, let's see if we first of all get the 5 waves in here, and we'll look at this trend in here in a moment in detail. If we get 5 waves here, we're going to get some type of correction here, and then we're going to get another move down. So yes, we can look to short through here and so on and whatnot, but we won't know. I won't know if it's only going to come to here or is going to drop lower from that point. So it's something that we need to work through. That's the problem that I have, and we need to work through that. So this little trend in through here, if I just look at that, start drilling in here, yeah, so I might just go to the 1 hour chart here. So with the 1 hour chart here, I'm looking at it as wave 1 and 2 here, all the way down for 3 here. So you can take some profit here. It's okay to take profit on this particular number here. If the 100 here, 6,100 becomes a retested resistance, then obviously look to short it again and bring it down to 6,000 here. Basically, we can look at this wave 4 here being in 3 waves, and it can come back to group 2 here, or it may even push up into 6,200 here. So in this space here that we're looking for it to move from here. So looking for some sort of positive moves off here. But like I say, any move below the 6.1 here, and then we need to look at being on the bearish side here. On the tick chart with this here, we've been counting it down like this here. So from wave 3 here, the wave 4 pulling back here, the 38.2% retracement level is on 6.2 here, but it just depends on how you count this little guy in here. I've got yeah, there's a couple of ways I can count this, but either way, we can expect, well, we were expecting it to bounce from this low here, and we can see that it's slowing down into this particular number here. So we'll see this bounce here, but I expect it to be corrective here, and this bounce will also reflect through some of the other Asian markets as well. So moving on a little bit here into China here, I've got 2 counts for China. One is like this here. This is a daily chart, and just from the top here, I can look at this move down here as an ABC with a low in place here, or which I don't think is the case, but I think that we can look at this low here, then an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 4. There is another count here that I actually prefer, which is this 4 hour, on the 4 hour chart here, of having a wave 4 here, and then looking down lower. So wave 1 and wave 2, we're currently short here, brought the stop down, take part profit here. We can also expect a bounce here, and then down for wave 5 here. This is more in line with Hong Kong. So when we have a look at Hong Kong, with Hong Kong, it's sort of stretched out nicely. It's also made a new low below here as well. So that's why I think China is the same. In this case here, we'll look at this as wave 1 and 2 and wave 3 here, a bounce off the 26.5. This is a really important number here. It's the halfway mark between 5 and 8 here, so it always plays out. We can see that it's offered some support near here, and it will play out in various ways through here as well. But yeah, we still expect this to move down further through here. Bit of housework on the way. So yeah, this can pull back. Well, wave 4 normally if that low is in place. I'm not sure if it is. It looks like it because I got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's kind of getting there. It can pull back up to the wave 4 of 1 less degree. So it can move back up into this space here. So just be mindful if you've got. You can certainly bring your stop to break even at this point, but I wouldn't bother doing it. We can also look to short again as well. Once we look at from wave 3 here, once we have the low in, we can look at the 38.2% retracement level here, and if the Asian market's going to push back up, well then this will push back up. So let's just allow wave 4 to develop first. It's not there yet, and then we can look to short it in this space. So I'll just clean that up. And the next market is Japan. And with Japan, I've had this as wave 2 here, wave 1 and 2 here, wave 1 and 2 here, and then looking for it to move up here. But I don't think it's the case. I think that it's going to be in line with the other markets. So probably what we'll have to do in the next step, there may be a bigger bearish picture with all of this, but I can bring this wave 2 over here with wave C here and have this here, oops-a-daisy, as an A wave here, B wave up here, and the C wave down through to here. And we'll also need to look at this here in 5 waves here in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we're not long or short here in this market, so but we're probably looking at something like this. We could also be looking at a bigger bearish picture here as well. I won't go there just yet because I need to. It's a bit of a tricky one. Let's go to the daily chart here. It's a little bit of a tricky one. This market. We were tracking it like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Yeah, I'm just not quite happy with this. So there can be a bigger bearish picture within all of this. So there's a couple of ways to count it. So. But let's just, first of all, let's just see if we get this 1 and 2 in here, wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and wave 5 here, because that will put a different slant on it as well. I've also got here as an A wave here, a B wave over here, and a C wave down here. So I think that we can start sort of ruling out this particular count, but I won't eliminate it right now because it hasn't really broken any rules yet. Okay, it's just that I can see what some of the other markets are doing, and we can't put any sort of strength into this market just yet. So yes, we need to chill on that. And the last one is India, and the structure here is quite nice and clean and so on. So there's only one thing that I need to work out. So in this case here, we're looking at wave 4 being in place. I suppose people could look at this also in a bearish picture as well as having wave 4 over here and looking at this as an A wave here, a B wave up here, and a C wave down through to here. I don't think that's the case. We don't need to go there for that. It counts nicely as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave here. The only mistake I could make here is this wave 3 top here being not this orange one, but actually a blue wave 3 here, and then it would make a blue wave 4 over here. Not that it makes any difference at this stage, because it would still pull back to the 38.2% retracement level here, and we've been looking at this in terms of an A wave here, a B wave, and a C wave. So we're pretty much on track here for this. The thing here is that this move from the top here can be counted down as well, wave 1 or wave A, wave 2 or wave B, and wave C here or wave 3. I can call this wave 4 here. It has pulled up quite high though. Let me just double check on this. Won't take the spike on this one. I'll just take this one here, and I suppose even at that point, no, it still works out. As a wave 4, it should have pulled back 38.2% in here and then dropped down here. So we may be in some sort of, because we only got, I wanted to wait to see if we got 5 waves down in the first leg or 3 waves. It looks like we've got 3 waves down. If that's the case, then it makes this correction here either a triangle pattern, the beginnings of a triangle pattern, beginning of one of the flat corrections. With a flat correction, there's the regular flat, and then there's the running flat and the expanded flat. So it can be a variety of things in here, but what I can say is that wave 4s can get complicated, and especially now that it has 3 waves in it rather than 5 waves, it's got the double likelihood of being more complicated. So I'm not that interested in this. What you can do, however, if the 11,500 becomes the retested resistance, then you can look to go on the short side from this point. We wouldn't go long here unless this resistance here became the support. So 11,650. Once again, this is also the halfway mark between 8 and 5 here. So it is significant, and if it became support, we would need to go with that. But let's just see how this plays out here. It's still going to get more choppy. I don't want to get involved in it just yet. All right, that's the Asian report, and thanks for tuning in. And I'm back in my office now, and so we can take phone calls here. Okay, cheers.